If you're not a big fan of Jayson Tatum, then the past month must have been hard for you. Because looking at how Tatum performed in that closeout game of this year's NBA Finals, he looked like a star, stepping up when the Celtics needed him most. So call it what you want. He didn't win the Finals MVP, recreating the Kobe pick had negative aura, but at the end of the day, he got the job done, and that's all that matters. The narrative on Jayson Tatum completely flopped after the 2022 NBA Finals. Before that series, Tatum used to get all the praise in the world, but ever since their championship loss in 2022, all hell broke loose. Let's take a look at how the media first started going at Tatum.
Did Jayson Tatum underperform in the finals? Did he disappear at times on the big stage? Without question, y'all, without a doubt.
Now, maybe he wouldn't have gotten this much blame if he wasn't playing for one of the most historic franchises in NBA history. And maybe that criticism was a little unfair, being he was 24 years old in his first finals. But that's where the criticism started, and it escalated into 2023. In 2023, Tatum averaged a career-high 30 points and took the Celtics to yet another conference finals. And once again, the Miami Heat stood in the way of a finals appearance. After Game 1, Jay Williams called Tatum out following Boston's defeat.
Am I more impressed with Jimmy Butler or am I more disappointed in Jayson Tatum?
And this was coming from the same man who sang praises about Tatum early in his career. Miami went on to win the first 3 games and Boston took home the next 3, and the series dragged on to 7 games. And although Tatum got hurt in the first minute of Game 7, he still managed to catch a lot of the blame from the media and critics. Kendrick Perkins put most of the blame on Tatum for the Celtics not winning the series, and suggested that the Celtics break his partnership with Jaylen Brown for them to succeed in the future.
It's time to break Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum up. Jaylen Brown was horrible tonight. 8 turnovers, 8 for 23 from the field. Jayson Tatum hurt. This is the time that he's supposed to step up. And I just don't know if you're the front office of the Celtics, how much longer you're going to be patient with this duo.
And this was an insane take. I mean, even at the time. But don't worry, this won't be the first time that Tatum gets disrespected by ESPN. Even in this year's playoffs, when Tatum scored 36 points and had 12 rebounds in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers, Kendrick Perkins still wasn't all that hyped up for Tatum and said he could do better.
I understand he had, 36 last night, 12 rebounds. He should have had 50.
Imagine scoring 36 in a playoff game and still being told to step it up. I mean, maybe it was because he hadn't won a championship at that point, but they were all quick to turn on him for his postseason struggles, forgetting how he took the league by storm. Even after the Celtics cruised to the NBA Finals and Tatum and Brown led the Celtics to one of the best regular seasons of all time, Kendrick Perkins was still not convinced that they were the better duo heading into the finals.
When it comes down to Luka and Kyrie, I do think that they're the better duo. Are they surrounded by the better pieces? No, it's no disrespect to Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford or PJ Washington. Those guys could play. But the Boston Celtics starting 5 has been the best starting 5 in basketball.
Coming into the finals, Tatum led in scoring in 8 of 14 playoff games, led in rebounds in 11 of these games, and led in assists in 8. Now, Tatum knew he had moved past the stage of just being a promising young talent. He's no longer just getting familiar with the game or gathering experience, right? And it's all about legacy. And Tatum, leading the Celtics to their first championship in 16 years, should significantly shift how people view him. And although he did not win Finals MVP, he is still seen as the best player on a championship-winning team, and the newest Celtics legend to bring a title to this historic franchise. That's a big deal. In the past few seasons, the Boston Celtics have been so close to winning their first NBA title since 2008. The Celtics made their last NBA Finals appearance in 2022, and after losing that series, there was a lingering sense of unfinished business, especially for Tatum. They've reached the Eastern Conference Finals 6 times since the 2016-17 season, leading many critics to argue that they should have bagged multiple titles by now. When teams are expected to achieve greatness and fall short, blame often falls on the top player. It's inevitable. Therefore, Tatum has frequently been at the receiving end of criticism whenever the team exits the postseason. And some of this criticism is fair, given the expectations of a superstar in today's NBA, and some isn't. But that's the territory that comes with being a high-profile player. But Tatum has now changed the narrative that he can't lead his team to a championship and proved he's good enough to be the cornerstone of a championship team. Jayson Tatum tuned everything out this year, the noise, the media's opinion, but he still got the job done and closed out the finals with 31 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. Tatum is now an NBA champion, and although he didn't grab MVP honors, the critics were still wrong about him. They often overlook that he's already done what other superstars haven't, and the only thing that was missing from his resume was a championship, but that championship has now been accomplished. I mean, if Tatum had led the Celtics to the title 2 years ago at age 24, it would have been a pretty rare feat. Only Magic Johnson, who won a title in his rookie season with the Lakers, managed to do that at a similar age. And Tatum has faced unrealistic expectation, but now he is an NBA champion. And looking at other superstars who won titles, Tatum is not far off in terms of age and accomplishments. LeBron James went through the same thing, losing in the finals in 2007 and 2011 before finally breaking through in 2012. When a star player reaches the finals multiple times without winning, it starts to kind of define their career, whether it's fair or not. And it might seem odd to talk about legacy for someone as young as Tatum, but that's the reality he's faced in this series. Tatum's biggest flaw sometimes is trying to do too much, falling into hero ball mode and settling for jumpers, especially that sidestep three from the wing. However, he's far more effective when he drives downhill to the rim and either scores or facilitates and finds open shooters or cutters. And that's exactly what he did in that closeout Game 5. You cannot downplay how exceptional Tatum's playmaking was in this finals. It just can't be overlooked. So let's quickly recap each game and assess how the finals really went down. After a solid Game 1 against the Mavs, ESPN found no reason to criticize Tatum.
He played winning basketball. I thought he did exactly what his team needed him to do. At sometimes, just because they were trying to guard the matchups early, he was playing defense on the center. Yeah. He rebounded well, he found his teammates, and he didn't force anything.
Even though Stephen A., who has always been hard on Tatum, was absolutely convinced that he was the best Celtics player. And even Kendrick Perkins was now convinced that Tatum would win the Finals MVP. And you can't really blame him. In Game 2, Boston really turned up the heat. Luka Doncic led all scorers with 32 points, showing off a much more efficient game compared to his performance 3 nights earlier. But Jayson Tatum, on the other hand, struggled, shooting just 6 for 22 and now sitting at 12 for 38, 32% in the series. But despite Tatum's struggles, there was a lot of head-to-head action between him and Doncic. Overall, the Celtics had the upper hand though in those matches, which was one reason why they led 2-0 in the series headed to Dallas for Game 3. A crucial Game 3. You see, despite Boston's 2-0 lead, Tatum still felt the heat from the critics.
And Jayson Tatum he's playing a prominent role in there right now. Listen, here's the thing, right? He's been leaning on his teammates too damn much. And you talk about he didn't take the bait when J. Kidd threw it out there. He did have a game high in shot attempts. He shot 22 shots in that game too.
But when Game 3 rolled around, the Celtics managed to hang on for a vital win in Dallas. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown shared a long hug after helping Boston avoid what would have been the biggest collapse in an NBA Finals game since at least 1997. The game seemed over early in the fourth, but the score was stuck at 93-90 for more than 3 minutes. This included a key moment when Doncic was called for a blocking foul on a driving Brown. The Mavs had nothing to lose by challenging the call, hoping to save their superstar from fouling out. And without Doncic, PJ Washington, Kyrie, and Tim Hardaway Jr. each missed a three-pointer in the final minute, as Kyrie's personal losing streak against his former team stretched to 13 games. Ouch. Tatum could smell that title, even if he was cool about it. When you talk about living in the moment, smiling, and appreciating things, it often means you feel a championship right around the corner. The Celtics were now up 3-0, sitting pretty, and just one game away from what would be a record-setting 18th NBA title. And while we briefly mentioned the embarrassing Game 4 loss for context purposes, the Celtics completely dominated in Game 5 and brought their 18th championship to Boston behind Tatum's 31 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. And for all the haters that want to criticize JT for not winning Finals MVP, Jayson Tatum is the first player to lead an NBA championship team in playoff scoring, rebounds, and assists and not win Finals MVP since the award has existed. But what are your thoughts? Does the narrative on Jayson Tatum change now that he is an NBA champion? Should he have won the Finals MVP over Jaylen Brown? Let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share the episode if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.